When I learned the difference between El Pastor and Adobado, wait.
I always want to say Adobado, but it's Adobado, right?
It's Adobada, I think. It's Adobada, yeah.
Adobada.
It's not Autobada.
I'm so white.
Now let me tell you about my favorite taco in New York City. This is Los Tacos #1. I guess numero uno if we're being authentic. And the moment you see this place, you know it's legit. And everything on this menu is great, but I happen to be a sucker for a meat cooking on a vertical spit. And what Los Tacos numero uno offers is pork adobado, cooked on a vertical spit or a trompo in the style of Al Pastor. And it is very similar to Al Pastor, but it is kind of different. It's charred pork, salsa, avocado crema, pineapple, fresh tortilla. It's a perfect taco. And we're going to adapt it at home today for our very special guest, the very funny and talented Kelsey Cook, who also happens to be obsessed with these tacos as well. If you don't know who Kelsey is, she's been on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. She's the co-host of the Self-Helpless podcast with Taylor Tomlinson and Delaney Fisher. She, and I am being serious here, is a foosball hustler and hosts a very funny YouTube show, Risks of Fury, on All Things Comedy's YouTube channel. And of course, she is a stand-up comedian touring all around the country, and she has a new stand-up comedy special out right now called The Hustler on YouTube. And as a comedy nerd, I am super excited to have her in the kitchen today. I don't know how tall you are. I was like, oh, she's gonna be one of these girls that's like 6 feet
People
tall.
think I'm so tall when they see my clips, and then they meet me in the merch line, and they're like, oh, what the happened? Because I think on stage it just makes me seem taller.
You can come into perfect. See, you don't even have to. People get mad. They're like, your back must hurt. I'm like, ironically, this feels like the old food truck, like a rectangle.
Oh, funny.
Like
yeah. This is a food truck taking orders position.
Yeah. Well, Kelsey, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let me just read the first line of the bio on your website that you wrote, I'm assuming.
Okay.
Kelsey Cook is the daughter of an international yo-yo champion and professional foosball player, which made for a humor-filled life.
Ugh, that sounds really cringy. Now that somebody else reads it out loud, I have to change it immediately. Now I hate it. So it's true. So my parents met playing in a professional foosball tournament in the 80s.
So they're both foosball players.
They both are. My mom is in the Foosball Hall of Fame.
So you come from a royal foosball pedigree.
Yeah, technically.
Wow.
I wouldn't exist without foosball. Actually, very sad.
Well, we're gonna get this going because it's a very special day. You have a special out. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
And like we talked about, you love this taco as much as I do.
I've tried a lot of tacos, and I think Los Tacos #1 is the absolute best.
So let's see if we can measure up somehow to Los Tacos.
So excited.
First thing we need are chili. We've got guajillo chili and ancho chili. These aren't very spicy. Are you a spice?
I'm a wimp.
Okay, so if you like spice, add a few of these chili de árbol. That's gonna give you the spice you need. Today, we're gonna keep it toned down.
Okay. I feel like the ones from there, I start to sweat a little bit, but it's not insane. It's not
Yeah,
like
they do a good balance. They add the heat, if you want it, is added in the salsas. So then we're gonna do one of the ancho chilies, and then these look small, so I'm going to do.
And why do you buy the dehydrated ones?
This is actually a poblano chili, a poblano pepper.
Oh.
Dry.
Okay.
And so like a chipotle is a jalapeno dried and then packed in spice. You can get it fresh, it's just not called.
I see. Okay.
Bust open the chilies and get the seeds out.
Okay. And congratulations on 1 million. When did you hit 1 million?
You. A few days before Christmas.
Wow.
And my birthday's 2 days after Christmas, so I was like, come on.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Okay, so we've got the chili pods with their stems ripped off and the seeds removed. You don't want none of that.
Okay.
And then I just had some water in a kettle boiling. I'm gonna start to hydrate these in boiling water.
So are the seeds of these super spicy?
No. I think this is a poblano, so that's a little sweet. And the ancho, I don't know what they have almost more raisiny.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I'm just gonna take these over to the stove real quick along with whole coriander seed and some cumin seed. So we're just gonna get a pan nice and hot, and to that hot pan, we're gonna add about a tablespoon of coriander and cumin seed. We're gonna get that toasted and then add in those chilies and get those toasted for a minute in that dry pan. After a couple minutes of toasting, we're gonna add 2 cups of that boiling kettle water. I'm just adding kettle water because it'll just speed up the process. You can of course add it straight to the pan cold and bring it up to a boil. And we wanna cook those chilies until they break down and soften and will blend easily. Set it off to the side to cool while we cut our pork. By the way, here's a towel if you need.
Oh, thank you. It's
Okay.
official.
Okay, so pork.
This is another thing that is so intimidating to me. Just like a massive.
This is easy. This is nothing. This isn't even massive. This is a 5-pound boneless pork butt. A Los Tacos, it's cooked on a trompo, right?
Okay.
And that's more like the style of El Pastor, but it's not El Pastor. When I learned the difference between El Pastor and Adobado, wait.
I always want to say Adobado, but it's Adobado, right?
It's Adobada, I think. Yes.
Okay, I always.
It's Adobada, yeah.
Adobada.
Oh, it's not Autobada.
I'm so white. Say it the right way?
Adobado. See, this is where I need to research this.
Okay.
Adobada.
Adobada.
Yeah, I think it comes from adobada, which is, okay, so al pastor is a shepherd style. It is marinated with achiote, which is like a little red seed, and pineapple. Adobada means marinade.
Oh.
And so it's just a similar thing, but it's just marinated with chilies and vinegar.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a pork butt and we're gonna cut it into little cubes, and we're gonna cook them. They're gonna kind of shrink and reduce over time, and so it's gonna be like these little nuggets of pork marinated in the taco. Cut it in half first. Then we want to take that half and stand it up so that it's nice and stable, and then just cut these sort of, I don't know, 1/2-inch slabs of pork. And then cut those slabs into strips, and then those strips into a small dice. A little piece that's gonna fit nicely into a tortilla.
Have you ever had any major cutting accident?
It's never with a knife. It's always like a mandolin or
Ooh, yeah.
grater box. No one usually sees that happen.
That's very funny to see the behind the scenes. I was like, is he having a stroke? Why is he just...
We don't really need full 5 pounds of pork, so we're gonna cook about 2.5.
What do you think you'll end up using the rest of that for?
You could throw it in tomato sauce, make like a really nice pork braise. You could braise it, puree it, mix it with some like cheese or prosciutto and fill a pasta with it.
Oh, nice.
Make like carnitas. Everything's a technique.
Yeah.
It's not a recipe, right? Strain those chilies. So we're gonna go in with the chilies, the cumin, and the coriander seeds. Smash some garlic. The reason we don't need a lot of that liquid too is because we're using lime juice and orange juice and apple cider vinegar, which should be enough. In Mexico, they have something called sour orange. So, and that's what the basis of like most of the marinades are, or a lot of them. And so whenever I do it, I just try and replicate it with lime and orange.
Oh, okay.
And so like that plus the chili, or if you're making al pastor, achiote paste and pineapple, you know what I mean? You can start to build out your flavor profile. A lot of people use cinnamon in this.
Yeah.
And I like cinnamon, I use it in my chili, but like I almost sometimes
Yeah.
avoid it. It's a lot like comedy in terms of like choosing words, efficiency. Like these are all decisions. Like, do you want to add this? How long do you want to cook it? What kind of color do you want on it? Like, where do you want it to?
I'm trying to think if I can taste cinnamon in the ones from Los Tacos.
I can't remember either.
But
Yeah,
maybe it's a little.
if I tasted it more, I would have added it. But
Yeah.
I'm going to add some apple cider vinegar, maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons.
Do you ever take shots of that?
I was a little sick recently, and so I was doing a little seltzer with a little apple cider. It was like a little fizz. I liked it.
Oh, that's not a bad idea to add seltzer.
A little bit of honey. About a tablespoon paprika, a teaspoon of oregano. Mexican oregano is preferred. And then the secret to this, as well as my salsas, you ever see this?
Oh.
Chicken bouillon, caldo de pollo, any sort of thing like that. Just gonna pour the whole thing.
So what does that do?
It's got like all sorts of spices, MSG, all sorts of good stuff in it. A little salt, black pepper, and then we can puree it. I'm also going to salt the pork. Just want to make sure I get it nice and seasoned all the way around. We'll set this off to the side. Get the blender on and blend it for a few minutes till it's nice and smooth. Let's smell it.
Oh, wow. That looks like the classic
Then just pour that into the bowl with the pork and get each piece of pork fully coated in that marinade. All right, now, like we said, adobado means marinade. So you should probably let this marinate in the refrigerator overnight if you can, but since we have a guest, we're kind of doing this fast. We're gonna go straight from adding the sauce to the stove and get it going right away. Either one works. It's gonna be probably a little better if you let it marinate, but this is good to go. Then we wanna get a wide, high-rimmed saute pan, get that on high heat, and we wanna add the marinated pork straight into the pot. Then we're gonna add about 2 to 3 cups of water, just enough to thin out the sauce and cover it. You could use stock, whatever you want, but I'm just gonna use water. We're gonna bring it up to a boil and then add a bay leaf, cover it, and then add it into a 350-degree oven for about 45 minutes. It's gonna be the first stage of our cooking. Now, I know you're always curious about the pans that I use when I cook, and you might have just seen me use this high-rimmed 3.5-quart saute pan to cook the pork in by our friends and longtime sponsors over at Made In. And I use this pan for a reason. I could have easily used like a Dutch oven or a pot and just kind of cooked it like that. So I want a wide pan and I can cook this pork in relatively fast by utilizing a little bit of this surface area. Made In designs professional quality products for the home cook, and they partner with multi-generational factories and artisans to offer you a real comprehensive collection of pots, pans, serveware, and everything else you might need to cook and serve food in a home kitchen. And it's really how wide of a selection they have of quality items is the reason that I love this brand. Made In stainless clad pans are crafted in Italy. Made In's premium 5-ply stainless steel material is what sets it apart from other pans out there. The 5 layers allow for superior heat retention, even heating, and ease of heat control. And the handles are designed to stay cool on the stovetop and are ergonomical to help balance the pan. And to be honest, when I'm shopping for pans, anyone can throw steel together, but to me, the handle is the most important thing. Is the handle comfortable? Is it sturdy? Is it gonna wobble when you pull it out of the oven to the stovetop? And Made In does it just right. And if you're looking to stock up, Made In is offering my viewers 15% off their first order of $100 or more when you order using the link down in my description. So thank you, Made In, for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into the recipe. So here I got masa harina. Homemade corn tortillas are tough because you need to nixtamalize them, which is like the process of taking just ground corn and you add like a lime kind of acid to it, and it's why Mexican culture has sustained itself, because it makes tortillas healthy. It like brings out the health benefits. It's a whole process that you can't really do. Yeah. So they just make masa harina, which is kind of like the dried, prepped version of it. You would add hot water or salt at home, and you've got corn tortillas.
Amazing. This is one thing I'm particularly excited about trying to learn.
We're gonna add a little salt to it, and then this is literally like the package instruction for corn tortillas on the thing.
Wow.
So
it
says
like Bob's Red Mill?
Yeah.
Okay.
It says 1.5 to 2 cups. So I think I'm gonna do like 1 3/4. And so what we wanna do is work that until it kind of comes together. We don't really want any of that floury cornmeal anywhere. So if I see that, as I compress it, I might add a little bit more water. Could have used a bigger bowl, but.
The Bob's Red Mill brownie mix, I will say, is I think one of the best out there.
Is it?
It's so good.
I would never. My mom's best friend growing up used to drop off these brownies, and I was like, what is this recipe? You must tell me. She's like, it's the fudge Duncan Heinz box. See that? It's like together. It's not sticky. It's not sticking to my hand, but it comes together. Yeah. You can get into the frame. You're really hiding in the corner.
I always feel like I don't want to take up space. Okay.
So what we're gonna do now, wrap it, and like we do with pasta dough, we're just gonna let it sit at room temperature and let that corn hydrate with that water, and it'll be the right consistency, and we can roll out some nice tortilla.
How long do you let it rest for?
About 1 hour, at least. So for the fire roasted salsa, we've got this beautiful new can from DiNapoli. We all know these are friends of the channel and our favorite tomatoes, and they have this fire roasted tomato they sent me. You probably can't get this in store, but you can get a fire roasted tomato, and we're gonna use that to make this salsa. And I've got some cilantro, some garlic, some jalapeno, some caldo de pollo, some of that bouillon, some chili flake, and some salt. I'm gonna chop this onion, a couple jalapenos, and just kind of clean up some garlic. Small onion, we're gonna give it a rough chop. Just roughly chop up that onion and then break down that jalapeno. Gonna remove the seeds. Won't be spicy.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm such a wimp. I do find jalapeno spicy.
Then we're just gonna smash a couple cloves of garlic and we're ready to saute these vegetables. We're gonna get a pan on high heat with some oil in the pan. We're gonna break those jalapenos into a little bit smaller of a chunk, and then we can add them all into the pan. Season it with salt. And we wanna get that pan really hot before we add those vegetables because we wanna blister the vegetables. Make sure you have enough oil in there, and we want to sort of fry the vegetables, get some nice color on them. The more color, the better. And at this time, our 45 minutes is up, and I'm gonna take that pork out of the oven. I'm gonna remove the lid, and I'm gonna get the pork back into the oven. I'm gonna raise the heat a bit to about 425 degrees, and then continue cooking it uncovered until that sauce thickens, caramelizes, and reduces down into that pan and coats that pork. Now the vegetables are browning nicely. I'm gonna add a little chili flake in there to add a little spice, which is optional. We're just gonna keep adding color to these vegetables. You can go darker than this, but this is probably the minimum color you're gonna go. I'm in a bit of a rush, so we're just gonna deglaze that pan with half of a lime. We can get back over to the counter and blend this up. Okay, food processor.
Okay.
Open up the tomatoes. I'm gonna use about half of that can.
Did you do a practice run of this at some point?
Yeah.
And how did you feel that it turned out compared to Los Tacos?
I thought it was very close. I mean,
Wow.
aside from the visual, it's different, right? It's not the thin slice, it's not that char.
Yeah.
It's a cube, it's kind of softer. I think flavor-wise, if you can get past that, you're in the same ballpark. So I'm gonna use about half this can. I mean, doesn't that just look good?
It looks so good. It doesn't look like something that's from a can.
That's why you gotta be picky about the can. Then transfer the onion, the garlic, and the jalapeno to the food processor, and then squeeze in the other half of that lime.
These are good limes you're using. I feel like every time I'm at a bar, every drink I ever get from a bar that uses lime slices is the most like dehydrated.
Okay, feel that.
Okay.
Now feel this.
Whoa. Okay.
So when you go, you gotta sit there
Interesting.
and actually feel. And I find even like the paler ones seem to be juicier.
Okay.
And like this one you can get there too,
Yeah.
but like some are hard as a rock. So you gotta
Yeah.
watch out. A little salt, another one of that caldo de pollo packets. I might just use half of that one. Maybe if I want more, I'll taste it.
Okay.
And then some cilantro.
Nice.
All right, ready to pulse.
Goddamn, I'm never gonna want salsa from the store again. Oh my god, that smells unbelievable.
Now we get to test. I think it needs salt. What do you think?
Oh my god, that's so good. Oh my god.
Easy.
Maybe like a little bit, but also these chips rock.
Yeah, so thick.
Yeah. You know what's funny? That tastes exactly like the Los Tacos salsa. That's
But-
kind of crazy. I mean,
what do you
I
think
know.
I'm doing over here?
It's just that's crazy to me.
They don't pay me the big bucks for nothing.
I've got 1 million subscribers on YouTube for salsa. Well,
I'm done.
you might not make it.
This is what kid do chips.
Well,
Chips
I
are
hate that
chunking.
feeling. God, I cannot stand this. And you were able to replicate their salsa just like,
I didn't replicate their sauce. I replicated salsa.
yeah, but it's
And
like,
what they do, I imagine, is what like most places in Mexico do, which is simpler than you think. We got our salsa. We're gonna set that off to the side. Now onto the avocado crema. Well, I got a good lesson for you. You ever pick out guacamoles? I mean, you ever pick out avocados?
yes, I feel like I'm a pretty decent judge of avocado.
Which one would you say is more ripe?
Can I feel them?
No. I want you, just by look, to tell me which one's more ripe.
I feel like that one's more right because it's a little.
But what I want to say is feel how unripe this is.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, but this looks ripe. Like this is ripe and this isn't, but they looked as the same. So it's like you can't just go by visual.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of a trick question then.
Trick question. But you f***ed it up.
Sorry.
All right. So how I feel is feel that one.
Yeah.
Okay, but you felt in the wrong spot. You're feeling on the side where it's starting to taper. You want to feel here.
Okay.
The fat end of the like nut, because that's the last point it will ripen. So it's like it'll ripen kind of down, right? And then this will still be hard. The other thing is you want the stem still in.
So I was kind of right when I said I feel like it has something to do with.
But both stems were in. The reason why you want that in, if it's out, that's when you start to oxidize. It allows air in.
Oh, okay.
So if it's in, it'll usually be nice and green inside, and then it's nice and soft all around, perfectly. It's bouncy soft though, it's not soft.
Yeah.
All right, so for you, we're gonna use one avocado, we're gonna make a little mini guacamole. When it's ripe like that, it'll just squeeze out.
Yeah.
But before it oxidizes, we wanna squeeze some lime juice in. That should keep it nice and green. I'm gonna take a piece of garlic. I'm gonna grate it in just so it's not fiery, you know what I mean? It sort of breaks it down and it'll get lost in there so you don't have any like huge chunks. I'm gonna cut an onion very thin. Now again, Kelsey has no dairy, so we're going to make a simple guacamole, and then for me, the traditional way, we're gonna make it like a guacamole crema. Just tear some cilantro roughly. Salt, avocados need lots of salt. Kind of like mash that onion in there. Push it up with a fork, and I give that a taste.
That's really good. So simple.
Now we made you your guacamole, but this is not what they serve. They serve a guacamole sauce, an avocado sauce. I'm gonna use a couple avocados. All right, so we're gonna get some of that lime juice in there, get some salt, and for a crema, we're gonna add sour cream.
Okay.
So let's call it, I don't know, what is...
A dollop of daisy?
A little dollop, I don't know. They'll call that a quarter cup for now. And since all of my food processors are dirty, I'm gonna puree it with one of these things.
Back when I would have dairy, I feel like daisy's a good brand of sour cream. So.
Did you see the new packaging?
Uh-uh.
It's a squirt package.
Oh, wow.
It's great.
That is nice. Man, the sound effects from that thing are gonna get demonetized.
All right, so now that's done. So then keep it covered so it doesn't oxidize. One other thing is we need to chop some little diced onion with some cilantro for the top garnish.
Oh, right.
A little thin dice on these.
Yeah, I felt like Food Network catering more to like an older crowd maybe, or?
I turned down a Food Network show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, have you talked about that on here yet?
No.
Well, can it stay in?
They can know. I don't know if this is the medium for it's a long story.
Oh, okay.
All right, so just like every Mexican place, you got a little garnish of diced onion and cilantro in there. Then we have our ball of dough. So you just want to be able to form a ball. It's moist enough to come together. And then I've got a little Ziploc bag, gallon bag, cut it in half. And this is not like this is a makeshift way of doing this properly. And so usually you have a press that has the right pressure and it flattens it out. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna take a big Dutch oven, get right on over top of it and press down.
Perfect.
And we're just gonna take a little rolling pin and just sort of roll it out slightly, not too thin. And there you have it.
Very cool.
Now we gotta get cast iron nice and hot and we can just start cooking them.
The tortillas feel so doable. That's a cool thing to realize that's
right? Especially like corn tortillas.
Yeah.
Take a little wax paper. Now you try. 2-inch ball.
Let's get these foosball wrists going.
Get over the top. Get over the top.
Oh, that's pretty sad.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. That's all you need.
Okay.
Put it down.
All right.
And what you can even do is like in Mexico, the grandmas, they use their hand. They just, so you can just kind of like make sure it's nice and even. That's really what you want, is make sure it's even.
Okay.
But then you take it out. You did it. You made that.
That's so exciting. Again, the patience that this takes, I don't think I'm built for it. It's very fun to watch though.
I mean, you're gonna be a mother. You're gonna be a mother one day.
I'm not.
How little patience do you have?
I have very little patience, and I'm not gonna be because my boyfriend's had a vasectomy. I'm gonna be like a stepmom to adult children.
Oh my God, that's so funny. So then once you've got a tortilla pressed out, you want to throw that right into a hot pan. A seasoned cast iron pan is fine. And when a really high heat, we want to cook it for like a minute or two on one side. Give it a flip and allow it to cook on that other side for a minute or two. And you want to cook this hot and fast or else they'll dry out. Okay, and then what I do is I take a little pot like this and I put a towel in it. And as they cook, I'm gonna store them in there and they like steam and they stay warm and you keep them warm like that.
Okay.
Isn't it crazy how like, I don't understand how you put words together. Yeah, you can't quite figure out.
I can't quite make a f***ing tortilla. You would think that it's not that hard, and yet it's also interesting how.
No, you can fold it onto your palm and then transfer it. And then you're just gonna go through, press out, and cook the rest of the tortillas. And then you're gonna keep them warm in that little towel in that pot. All right, so we have our tortillas done. One last thing is the pineapple.
Crucial for these.
Another test. How do you pick a pineapple?
Oh, is this also, I think with avocado, you tap the butt?
No. Okay, what color is a pineapple? Green or yellow?
Yellow?
Knowing that, you probably want the exterior to look more yellow than green.
Sure, okay.
So like, see that? You want it, that's less ripe, this is nice and ripe. But it's also firm, right? It's not soft and mushy. If you pull out the top, pull this guy. If it can pull it easy like that, it's ripe. If it's still struggling.
Oh, okay.
So again, it's like taking in all these is it firm? Is it yellow? Can you pull it out?
Okay. I'm learning so much.
So we don't really need a lot. I'm just gonna cut the top. We just need like a little quarter of this thing. So we only need about a quarter of the pineapple, so I'm gonna shave off a little bit of that skin and cut a quarter chunk off the edge. Then I'm gonna split those into 3 planks. So we just need like kind of some rods like this. We're just gonna sear them. We just don't want the core in there at all. Now let's check on the pork, and it's cooking a little slower than I want, so I'm gonna give it a mix. I'm gonna raise the temperature to 450 and try and get this sauce reducing before we gotta get Kelsey out of here. Then in a small pan on medium-high heat, I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil, and once it's hot, I'm gonna throw in those chunks of pineapple, and I really just wanna caramelize all 4 sides of the pineapple. I don't really wanna cook them fully to soft all the way through. I want them soft on the outside with a little texture on the inside, and then I'm gonna cut them into long strips. So we got our pineapples cut just like they do at the taqueria. Set that off to the side. And now we just have to wait for the pork to be done. We're waiting for that sauce to reduce, for it to sort of darken. Pork will get tender, and hopefully it'll be delicious. Now it's been about 2 hours and it's cooking a lot slower than it did last time. This is the nature of cooking. Not all recipes behave the same way every time. And as you can see in my test run, about 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and 20 minutes, I got a deep dark caramelization on that sauce and it reduced and sort of wrapped around that pork. And I'm not there yet, and we gotta get Kelsey out of here soon. So at home, you could just continue cooking it until you achieve that result. But today I'm gonna throw on the broiler and sort of speed this process up as fast as I can. And the pork is cooked through. It's just not as reduced as I would have liked, but it's still absolutely fantastic. See how the sauce thickened?
Oh yeah.
And it sort of coats pork. We're in a little bit rush right now, but like I would even cook this longer and wait till that sauce to caramelize itself, like almost darken, and it's that sauce will sort of like kind of glue to the meat. But this is totally fine. That pork is nice and tender. Beautiful. It's ready to make. Kelsey, you're up with the first taco. We're gonna make it Kelsey's way. First, just like a not too crazy amount of that pork. Then the cilantro onions, the salsa, her guacamole, and the pineapple.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Wow.
I'll make mine the way that everything's the same, except we're gonna use the avocado crema that's more traditional. There we are.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Does it look like it?
It looks exactly like it. You completely nailed it.
Okay, cheers.
Okay, cheers. Oh my god.
It locks that char a little bit, but it's the same
so
taco.
good. I can't believe this was made from scratch today.
Like 2 hours ago?
Yeah, I can't thank you enough.
I'm so glad you came on to promote your special, The Hustler, which is on YouTube right now.
Yes, please go to Kelsey Cook Comedy on YouTube and watch it. Also, I'm sure it'll be in the link below.
There'll be a link down below. Watch it 100 times. Make sure you all show our girls some support, okay?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Recipe's gonna be down in the description. That's all that we've got today. We'll see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself and go feed yourself.